Good afternoon. I'm Steve Rogers with Inspect Tech Systems. We're here with Lou Ruzzi, PennDOT District 11 bridge engineer outside of Pittsburgh. Lou, can you please describe your role with PennDOT District 11?
Sure. In my position, I'm involved in design, inspection, analysis, and maintenance of over 1,800 bridges, 500 sign structures, over 80 retaining walls, and we're also involved in oversight of over 500 local bridges.
Can you describe some of the various structures that you're in charge of?
We have a number of different types of steel and concrete and masonry structures, large to small. We have major river crossings that are some are over 2,000 feet long and as little as 8 feet long. So it ranges from 8 to over 4,000 feet long, some of our bridges.
What type of budget does PennDOT have for maintenance, repair, and replacement of bridges?
Well, over the last 3 years, we've had over $200 million available, Steve, to do rehab, replacement, and preservation of our bridges. We also have supplemented with over $5 million in maintenance contracts. We also have in-house bridge maintenance crews, 4 total in our district that work on bridges. And we have over $2 million available for inspection of bridges as well.
Speaking about inspection, can you go over that program a little bit more, how that relates to the overall health of a bridge?
Sure. We do about 85% of our bridges in-house, and then we have supplemented with consulting crews that help us as well. They're key to the safety of our bridges on a daily basis for the motoring public. When those inspections are done, needs are identified, they're put into our bridge maintenance system, and then we use the data that's in that system to help do our program, whether it be to rehab or replace a bridge or to do basic maintenance on our structures.
What are some of the common issues that your inspectors are finding out there on Pittsburgh bridges?
Well, leaking joints is probably our biggest problem. We also have spalling of concrete on our decks, our substructure, deterioration of our steel beams, again at the joints where they are leaking, those beam ends. And scour is also another issue, with scour being or undermining of our substructures, our footings, and our piers and abutments.
Lou, what are some of the techniques that your maintenance crews are taking to address some of these minor issues before they become major ones?
Well, one of the biggest things we can do is to stop our leaking joints. We do that mainly through our contractors, through projects that we let on an annual basis. We've spent on average, we like to spend about $14 million or $13 million a year on preservation jobs, although we've spent as much as $38 million just 2 years ago on preservation work. Some of the techniques involve putting new strip seals in to stop a leaking joint. We may put rock protection or a concrete collar to prevent undermining of footings. Doing spall repair to any concrete member, whether it be a deck, superstructure, substructure, as well as steel beam repair, where you might plate over a beam end with a steel plate, or clean or paint that area to get a longer life out of your bridge.
Hey, Lou, you had mentioned the money you're spending on bridge preservation. Can you speak to the changes in the federal regulations that have allowed you to increase that budget?
Yes, for a long period of time we weren't able to spend federal money on bridge preservations. In Pennsylvania, since 2003, we've had that ability to do that, and that's really ramped up that bridge preservation program. When you're able to spend federal money on things like painting, fixing joints, doing spall repairs, doing bridge washing, a lot of activities that can be done a lot early in the life of the bridge to extend that life. That's key to getting a 100-year life out of a bridge, which is one of our goals.
The bridge right behind us here, Noblestown Road, it might be a good example to speak to of the differences between addressing a problem early on and what happens if you don't have the money to get to it right away.
It is. It's a perfect example. This is a bridge where we spent $1 million to go in and do hydrodemo and latex on the deck, fix the joints, and fix the substructure. And right behind me you can see some of the substructures, the concrete repair that was done to this substructure. That alone was over $500,000. Had we replaced the joints, say 20 years ago, on this bridge for about $150,000. We would have saved over $350,000 just on this bridge alone. You know, when you multiply that by the thousands of bridges we have, that's a big savings on bridges, and that those dollars that are saved can be used on other projects to extend their lives as well.
Are there any other examples around the Pittsburgh area that have the same type of effect?
Yeah, there's numerous ones. I mean, we have a big project going on right now at Fort Duquesne, major river crossing in the city, where we're doing preservation work to that bridge. Birmingham Bridge, where we had to do an emergency repair on it just 2 years ago. Another perfect example. You know, if we'd have had timely maintenance fixing the joints back in the late 80s, I would say, when the joints first started leaking, that would have saved us millions of dollars in repairs to the substructure on that bridge.
Lou, can you describe PennDOT's overall strategy in regards to bridge preservation?
Well, in our district, we're trying to spend at least $13 million a year on bridge preservation, and we've spent more than that in past years. But it's also about trying to make these projects more timely. Right now, we're looking at trying to do bridges more in a cycle, these projects more in a cycle, where if we can do bridge preservation every 15 to 20 years on a bridge, that will extend the life easily to 100 years on many of our structures. You know, some specific things we're trying to do in addition to that is we just started this year with letting a separate contract to do bridge washing with our bridge inspection contracts, one of our contracts. It kills two birds with one stone. We're able to go out and clean the bridge for the bridge inspector so he can do a better job, and then we're also cleaning the bridge. It's one of the cheapest things you can do by cleaning the bridge, getting rid of all the de-icing salts that are on the piers, the debris that's built up that's come through the joints, getting that off the bridge at an early stage so the deterioration doesn't have a chance to increase over time.
What are some of the other specific repairs that are taking place on a more frequent basis?
Okay. When you look at the different elements of the bridge, you take the deck, the riding surface that people travel on, you know, typically you're getting 40 years out of those bridge decks, but if we're able to do, say, a hydrodamine on latex overlay to the bridge, we can extend that out another 15 to 20 years. Same when it comes to the superstructure, steel beams or concrete beams. If you're able to fix those deteriorated beam ends, again, you extend that life. A superstructure typically might last 75 to 100 years. There's no reason why you can extend that out, even on our major river crossings, to say 150 years in some cases. So the idea is to try to look at the bridge by the different parts, the members of the bridge, and attack those in a strategic way so you're able to extend the life.
Can you speak to some of the advantages of doing a bridge preservation project versus an entire bridge replacement in regards to the motoring public and the impact on them?
Well, when you do a preservation project, usually the impact to the traveling public is not as great. Just replacing an expansion joint, for example, may only affect taking one lane out of 4 for 3 weeks, instead of having a whole side of a bridge closed down for maybe 3 to 6 months, depending on how big the bridge is. Again, if you do that early on, it's not as much. All the costs are lower. You know, maintenance, protection, traffic, the effect on the public, the user costs from people just sitting in traffic and wasting gas. It benefits everybody if these repairs can be done sooner rather than later.
Lou, since the district has begun to focus more on bridge preservation, can you speak to some of the statistics that indicate some of the successes you're having?
Sure. We track a couple different numbers in terms of bridge conditions. We track the percentage of structure deficient deck area and the number of structure deficient bridges. And since 2000, we've gone from 32% down to about 23% of our structure deficient deck area. And the numbers of structure deficient bridges from over 600 down to about under 540. So we're starting to see a difference from all the investment we're making in bridges, and we hope to see that continue in the future.
Great. Well, we'd like to thank Lou Ruzzi from PennDOT District 11 for giving us some of the ideas that PennDOT District 11 is implementing in regards to bridge preservation.
Okay, you're welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Lou.